So to start off with, I toned my canvas burnt sienna. That's just so I don't have to compete with the white of the canvas. It also will prevent any white dots from showing up as I'm painting. If my paint gets too thin in areas, I don't have to worry about the white of the canvas showing through. It'll be this orange will show through, which would be better than white. So I'm just blocking in the grass, um, and I blocked in the sky and the wall. And this is just getting paint on the canvas. You know, I normally block in first, and then start working on detail. Now, when I started doing the suit, his fireman suit, I kind of went both ways. I kind of worked on detail a little bit as I did this, um, which sometimes I'll do. Now, down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the uh, finished image, and then to the right of that is the original file, the original photograph. Now, I had two photographs to work with. I had this one, which was the full photograph, which was very poor resolution. And then I had another photograph which had their legs cut off, which was a slightly higher resolution. And both were not really a good resolution to accept a commission with. I until you get to, you know, you've been painting a long time and you're very comfortable with painting, I would not recommend ever accepting a commission where the photograph is not of good resolution. And what happens is people will take photographs and then they will send you a photograph from like their, let's say, their Facebook page or their Instagram or something online. And it won't be the original file. It won't be the file that's in their phone or from a camera. So when they take it offline, off the internet, like Facebook, the resolution for all websites is 72 dpi, and that's a very low resolution. You need the photograph. You need it to have more resolution so you can blow it up and see the detail. When I blow the original files up, it pixelates very poorly, very badly. So I lose all of the detail. But I didn't have faces to deal with. I just had to worry about getting the clothing to lay right and, you know, working on the folds of the clothes and stuff. I have experience with that, so I was comfortable accepting this commission with this photograph being of poor resolution. So you have to know your skill level versus the type of photograph resolution you're dealing with. So, enough of that. But uh, I just want to put that out there that the resolution is very important. If you're doing a face, you for sure want to have the original file so you can blow it up and you can see the detail of the eyes and then, you know, the nose, ears, whatever is, you know, facial features that you need. So, but with this one, I would not have had accepted this commission with this photograph had there been faces on here. So, now you can see that I'm working on let's see. I'm looking at the wrong side of my screen. I'm like, why do I have grass? I have two images on my screen. Anyway, you can see I've blocked in the grass, and now I'm starting to paint in the kind of like the individual blades. When you're dealing with grass, the grass is, if it's going to be close up, you want to do the detail of the blades. And that just, it's time consuming. You want to use a liner brush, and it takes hours. So I had to kind of decide. I knew the grass on the right hand side was going to have to be more detailed, but the grass on the hill on the left hand side, I couldn't decide if I wanted it to look more manicured or if I wanted it to look more grown in with more detail. So you're going to see that the grass is going to go through a couple of different stages throughout the painting. And that's just part of the process. You know, somebody had asked me, I don't know, a while back, why would you paint a photograph when you already have a photograph? Here's a prime example. The composition of the photograph is good, and it's a sweet subject matter, right? A dad carrying his daughter on his shoulders, walking with their son. So I love the photograph and the content of the photograph, but it's a cloudy day, so the lighting's not good. The grass has just recently, it looks like it's been recently mowed, so it's not attractive. Um, the the foliage, the trees and bushes and stuff along the wall, isn't appealing. So those are the things, if you're going to paint a photograph, those are the things that you can take creative license and fix. So you can see here, I've made it more of a sunny day. The grass is more green. Um, there, but there's things that you have to take into consideration. When I made it look more like a sunny day, that means I've got to darken the shadows. I've got to make sure that the folds of the material of their clothing might have a little bit more of shadows and highlights on them. And that the trees are going to have a little bit more uh, detail in them because you're going to have the light shining against the leaves. So these are things that you have to know and have experience painting when you're going to alter the photograph as much as I did. But that would be why you would paint a photograph, so that you can improve upon it. And then when you're doing lettering, I'm working on a black background, and I need for the lettering to be this bright yellow. So you want to paint the lettering white and then go over it with the color so you don't have to compete with the black background of the suit. I'm working on some of the shadowing. I'm kind of jumping around my painting a little bit here, um, so I end up off screen a lot. Now painting in the daughter's pants. And you see I paint with a lot of different paint brushes. What I'm actually doing is my liner brush, the black handled brush, is the one that's got paint on it. The other brushes I'm using for blending. I'm painting in the foliage, trees and bushes. And working on the wall. Neat. I forgot, you've got to highlight. I should have done that first. I should have highlighted or shadowed the wall and then painted the trees. See now, because now I have to go back and paint the leaves that are kind of hanging over the wall. But if you miss something like that, that's things that weren't in the original photograph that I added um, to add interest to the painting. Again, just trying to improve on the original photograph. And I had to fix some of the sky because I needed to paint. I kind of fixed the shape of her face, and so then I had to kind of work on the sky around her head. Now I'm blocking in the color of the grass. I have a darker layer, and what I decided to do was go and brighten the grass up a little bit. I wanted it to be a brighter green. So I went in and I painted it a lighter green. I know you can't see the whole thing here, but and now you can kind of see where it looks like there's black on the grass. After I painted it a lighter color, I went and I took an old paintbrush where the bristles were very splayed out, and I used black, and I used that paintbrush and kind of stamped that black all over the grass. That's what's going to add the depth to the grass. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add the individual blades of grass on top of that, but not covering up all of that black. You want some of that black to show through. And that, again, that's what adds the depth. Unfortunately, you can't see a lot of what I'm doing when I start to work on him because he is covered, the boy, because he's covered by the palette and the pictures. I record while I'm doing commissions, but I'm not focused so much on the getting everything recorded and making sure that everything's on screen. I'm more focused on the painting than I am the recording. So that's why sometimes I'm off screen and sometimes I miss recording certain parts of it because my focus is the painting because, you know, I get paid for these. So that's where my priority is. Now, when you're painting grass, obviously the grass in the foreground is going to have more detail, so you need to be able to see the blades of the grass. It's easier to turn your painting upside down and paint your blade. You want to stroke the blades down. Sometimes it's a lot easier than stroking up. And you obviously, when you're painting grass, you want to go from the bottom of the grass to the top. You'll get a more realistic blade look if you go from the bottom to the top as opposed to the top to the bottom. So I'll flip my painting. You can see I flip it upside down when I'm doing a lot of blades at the same time. You also don't want all of your blades going in the same direction. Some need to be straight, some need to curve to the left, some need to curve to the right. And that again is much easier to do when you're pulling your stroke down towards you as opposed to away from you. You also want the color, you want to change every time you reload your paint, you want to change the color of it a little bit so that your grass doesn't look flat. You want to use some dark greens. You want to add some yellow in there. Not necessarily white unless it's off in the distance. Then you may want to gray it up. But it's usually yellows and greens or even yellow and blue to make a different color green. But you want to have a lot of variety in your grass. And as the grass moves away from you, like in this picture as it goes towards the wall, I shorten my brush stroke. So the blades of grass get much, much smaller to the point where I don't even add individual blades once we get up by the wall. And the ones that are by the sidewalk are going to be much more detailed. And you want the blades of grass to be curving over the sidewalk. That's going to push that sidewalk down into the grass. Otherwise, if you don't have any blades going across the sidewalk, then your sidewalk's going to look like it's floating above the grass. And you also want to shadow that edge. Every time my canvas disappears, it's because I'm actually standing it up and looking at it. So here is the finished painting. My channel is more about rock painting, but I wanted you to see how a commission piece kind of progresses, or this commission piece progressed anyway, because this is what funds my painting career are commissions, so I will have a couple more coming up. I have two for sure coming up in the near future. Um, One is going to be kind of a off the wall one, the idea, and I'm really looking forward to. I think that's the one I'm going to do next. So I hope you enjoyed uh, watching this process, and thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in the next video.